Hi, everyone, and welcome to the further discussion of the topics that we have been discussing. And in the last two videos, we have talked a little bit about emotions, and we tried to clear some of the common misconceptions that we carry regarding emotions. And today, I have a small question that I have received, and I would like to uh, take a small example to clarify that question. And it's a beautiful example, and maybe it will be very helpful to a lot of people. So the question I received was, how do we how do we clean the how do we clean the mess in the mind? How how can we how can we make the mind relax, in a way, so that you don't feel the stress, the tiredness that you usually feel when the mind is too busy, or when the mind is cluttered, when the mind is in a mess. So, I would. That's why the title of the video is cleaning the mind, the cleaning the room in the mind. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a little cold. Uh, I would like to start with the example of your room. Imagine you have a room in your house, and that is the room where you live. It's your room, and it's very messy. Everything is just lying everywhere, and there is no proper space, proper place given to everything, and everything is just everywhere. Now, what happens when you live in this kind of a room? Okay, because everything is everywhere, the first biggest problem we face in this kind of a scenario, in this kind of a room where you live, where everything is in a mess, is that there is a lot of confusion in the daily living. What I mean by confusion here is, like, because everything is a mess, you have to make an effort to find everything, okay, to understand everything. Imagine you have to find your glasses, but the room is in a mess, and you're confused. Where are them? You have to look for them. You have to find your socks, and they are not in your socks drawer or at the right place where they should be. Again, there is a struggle, there is a confusion. So, one thing we can see straight away when you live in a messy room is that everything is misplaced, and that's why it takes longer time to find things. It takes longer time to solve things. And this is straight away connected to feeling irritated. If you're struggling, if you're making an effort to do every action that you're doing in a day, then by the evening, because you have struggled a lot, there is an irritation inside of you that, life is not so nice, I'm making so much effort. So this is, in a way, one way of seeing the consequence of living in a messy room, that you are kind of confused about things because everything is everywhere. Then, because you're confused the whole day, it has a long-term effect on your mind, on how you feel about life. Also, you would see it's very noisy. When everything is everywhere you step, maybe you're stepping up on something, you know, and you're trying to get something, but you also, on the way, touch something else. You know, you are trying to get your glasses, but accidentally you also touch the glass, which falls on the floor, and there is another mess. So you try to do one thing, but you create another problem while doing the first thing. So this is kind of the third thing we can say: the confusion, the irritation, and the mess. That, because first of all it's already messy, and because it's messy, it kind of contributes to create more mess, because you try to do one thing and you create problem of something else. So in a way, you can see that living in a messy room creates a lot of problem for you. Okay, so how do you clean your room, or why would you clean your room in a way? And I think the first question that you should ask yourself uh, before this is like, do you really want to clean your room? Because if you're comfortable living in a messy room, right, then it doesn't matter how much someone else tells you, shouts at you, requests you that please clean your room, it's not nice, it's messy. But because you're comfortable living in that mess, you wouldn't start the process of cleaning. Okay? You wouldn't start it. So the first thing is to be aware of the mess, first of all. You are aware that you are living in a messy room, right? You see every day that, aha, I'm living in a messy room and this creates these problems for me in everyday life. And you're aware of it completely. And then from that awareness, you see that, are you comfortable living this way or you're not comfortable living this way? And naturally, when you're aware of your mess, no one intentionally wants to live in pain or in problems, okay? You would naturally ask this question to yourself that, why am I living like this? Okay? If you keep going on with that awareness, then slowly there will come a day when you will say, okay, maybe I should start cleaning a bit, you know. Okay, at least I will clean my computer table because I like to sit there and work there for a long time. And you start with your computer table, you clean it. And when you clean it, you see the positive effects of cleaning your table, that now your mouse is at the right place, all kind of cables that you use, you can find them easily, you don't waste your time, you're not frustrated because everything is in a system. And you get the taste of living in a way which is not messy, you know, to live in order. You get the taste of living in order. And then from that taste, it's your choice that, are you still satisfied with just that taste of cleaning your computer table, or would you want to go all the way and clean your whole room, right? So, but this is where the beginning of the cleaning begins, that you need to be aware that you are in a mess. Then you need to also see if you're happy with the mess or you're not happy with the mess. Most people are kind of unconsciously happy with the mess and consciously trying to get out of the mess. Okay, now this becomes a struggle because the mind is divided into two. A part of the mind is comfortable in the mess, and a part of the mind wants to change the mess because it has heard from people it's not nice to live in a mess. It sees the growth of other people who live in a systematic way, who have a nice system in their life. So in that sense, the cleaning of the room example can be taken a step ahead towards the cleaning of the mind. Okay? We can see that the signals, the indications of a messy room are confusion, irritation, pain, creating more problems. This is what happens when you live in a messy room. And we can see similar problems arising in the mind as well when the mind is also cluttered or messy. When the mind is very noisy in a way, you know, a messy room is a noisy room. It can't be a quiet room because it's messy. You walk, you step on something and this kind of thing. So there is always some kind of sound in that room. So you have to see, or you have to be aware as the first step when the questioner has asked, how do I clean my mind? How do I clean the space in my mind? How do I clean the room in my mind? Then I would start by saying that take it as a room of your house. And first be aware that you are living in this messy room. Okay? That your mind is messy. Okay? It's contradicting itself every day. It's creating emotions which are not needed sometimes. It's creating confusions because of the way it functions. Okay? It tries to make opinions about everything. Then those opinions are contradicting to other people's opinions, which create problem. Or your opinions try to contradict with the reality, and then that creates a problem. Then you say, my life is not how I want it, and all these kind of things. So the first thing you need to do is observe your daily living with the messy mind. Don't try to clean the mind straight away. Okay? Don't try to run straight to some meditation, to some guided method, to some philosophy. Don't try to do that first. Okay? Any problem needs to be understood before you offer the solution. And it's your problem, so you have to understand it first. So stop fixing the mind first, but first accept that the mind is in the state of mess, that the mind is in the state of confusion, that the mind is in the state of noise, and live with that. And see how it affects your daily life to live with a mind which is noisy, which is contradicting itself, which is confusing, which can't make a decision, which is always asking for help, which is always making illusions, which is always hoping of a better future and something like this, which is lazy, which is something. Okay, so all these things, you try to live with them first. When you live with them, you would see the consequence of living with such a mind. Every day you will see, I'm living with such a mind like this, and this is how my life is turning on. Okay, now if you're totally satisfied with this kind of life that a messy mind is offering, then nothing can be done, because you are okay with it. Superficially you might read some book, superficially you might hear some video which will say clean your mind, be peaceful, and blah blah blah, and you will make some superficial efforts maybe, but you will not try to change the core of it. Okay, so be aware of it first. Be completely aware, be completely known with the effects and functioning of a messy mind. After being aware, if you truly want to change it, if you truly feel that the awareness of the way of living of a messy mind has made you more sensitive towards to live nicely or to live in order, okay, then you would see that the very awareness of messiness, okay, not messiness, the mess, the very awareness of the mess starts working. The very awareness of the conflict in the mind starts to fix the conflict in the mind. And the reason for it is because now you have lived with the conflict, you have lived with the mess in the mind, you are kind of sensitive to the danger it offers. You are sensitive that if my mind is messy, it will be confused, and a confused mind will make silly decisions. Silly decisions will result in silly conclusions and silly outcomes, and then the life becomes silly and I feel sad or whatever is the consequence. You see the chain happening in front of your eyes every day. As you see it, that very awareness will start working. That very awareness will start being sensitive towards the stupidity of the mind. Then slowly and slowly you will see that you don't have to make a special effort to fix the mind, to fix the mess in the mind. Okay? The very awareness of the mess is the cleaning factor of the mind. The mind remains dirty, messy, because we are not aware of the dirt and the mess, because we accept it as a nice mind or whatever. We put nice labels on ourselves that I'm a very kind person, I'm this person, I'm that person. And then we also have mental issues of different kinds. Almost everyone faces it. So we have to first be honest and accept that how the mind is working. That if the mind is working with this mess, just like a messy room, then we have to see what are the consequences of living in such a way. When you're aware of those consequences, you will naturally see them, or you will naturally see that living with a messy mind is dangerous. Just like it's dangerous Just like a wild animal is dangerous, just like falling from a cliff is dangerous. You naturally protect yourself. You naturally avoid that situation because it's dangerous. It's protection. It's intelligence in a way. So when you see the consequence of living with a messy mind, you naturally start to avoid it in a way. Okay, but remember, it only happens when you're aware of it. And this awareness, I'm not saying a 5-minute awareness in a day, that you 5 minutes you are aware of yourself, and then for whole day you are lost. That's not going to work. And that also raises the question of how serious you are to clean the mess in the mind. The seriousness will come to the person who has felt this pain, this distress, this anxiety, this all the consequence of a messy mind. And then this person says, no more, I want to change it, because this is not the way to live. Either I become heavily sedated by medication and become numb, or can I change the way my brain works? And then that's the beginning of the change. That's the root, that's the seed of the change. The realization, the non-acceptance of living in a messy way. That you say, no more, I will not live like this anymore. Okay? Because I see the consequence of it. Because I'm aware of the consequence of it. If you're not aware of the consequence of it, you will blame it on other people. You will say, I'm depressed because of this person, because of this situation, because of this scenario. And this is where the illusion comes in, where we blame other things instead of seeing that maybe the other person had some cause in making me sad, but maybe I also had some contribution in the way I live, in my feeling of sadness. Okay? When you start seeing your own contribution, then naturally your intelligence says, at least I shouldn't contribute to my sadness. It's so natural. You wouldn't want to hurt yourself intentionally. You want to protect. Everyone wants to live happily. No one intentionally wants to live in a sad way. So when you see that a messy mind contributes to your sadness, contributes to your anxiety, contributes to your depression, contributes to all these factors, confusion and everything, you naturally become sensitive to it. You naturally try to avoid it. That I should not have a mind which is messy. Okay? And this is the beginning of cleaning of the mind. Then you see how the mind is messy, because now it's something you have to fix, otherwise it's not livable. And then you observe how you create the mess in the mind, or how the mind becomes messy. You can put it anyway. The observation of that messiness, how the mind is becoming messy, then tells you what to do or what not to do to keep the mind clean. And as you will start doing it, you will start getting the glimpses of how it feels to have a clean, calm, ordered mind, where everything is at its place, where everything is at its right place. So you don't have to make a struggle to do something. There is no effort in doing something, because everything is where it's supposed to be, and it's functioning like a beautiful machine. It's functioning like a very nice machine. So try to be aware of this first. Don't just ask that, how do I clean the mind? First, ask yourself, do I really want to clean the mind? This has to be a very honest question to yourself, that do I really want to clean the mind? How intensely I'm asking this question? How intensely is my request to clean the mind? Because only a thirsty person will drink water. A person who is not thirsty can say, I will drink water and I want water, I like water, but he wouldn't actually drink it because he doesn't want it at that moment. So see that if you have observed it really nicely, the consequence and how it affects your life to live with a messy mind. Once you observe it, and it will be a magical thing, the very observation starts to act. It starts to clean the mind. Because now that very observation makes you sensitive to all the consequences of living in a specific way. And then you start removing your own contribution to that mess. You say, okay, someone else tries to make my life mess. That's different. I cannot control it, I cannot control nature. But I will not contribute to the mess of my mind. I will not contribute to the mess. Okay? So, and that starts the process of cleaning. And once you taste how the clean mind works, how an ordered mind works, then I think you don't have to ask someone to have a clean mind or how to clean the mind. Then you find your way with this awareness. I think the awareness of the disorder is the clue. If you ask the question without being aware of your own disorder, then it's a stupid question. It's a question to have a pleasure of the talk. To have a nice conversation. I want to have a pleasure of a nice conversation. I really don't want to clean my mind. But if you ask the question after this observation of a messy mind, if you have observed what a messy mind does to you, what are the consequences of it, and you feel repented that I saw it, I didn't act it, I was lazy, I was confused, I was this and this and this, all that, if you observe continuously every day in your life, then I don't even think it's a matter of long time. If you nicely observe yourself, let's say even for a month, that how living with a messy mind affects your life, and it has to be a good observation. Again, you can't just observe for 5 minutes in a day and say I observed it, because you are serious actually to find out how to live with a calm and clean mind. Then you are passionate about it to find out. So you don't just observe yourself for 5 minutes, you observe how you live. And when you see how you live with a messy mind, that very observation starts to act. I'm sorry, I'm repeating this point many times now, but because it's a very important point. You have to be aware of the mess. If you're not aware of the mess, you will never clean it, because you're kind of fine with it. You are only not fine with the consequence of the mess, which is pain, confusion, anxiety, and whatever. And then you say, how should I fix my pain? How should I fix my sorrow? But sorrow cannot be fixed in that sense without knowing the true cause of it. And the way we live, for sure, has kind of a contribution in what we feel at the end of, as a result of living in that way. Okay? So, take it as an experiment. Be aware of how you live and see the consequences of living in that way. And that very awareness will start cleaning and filtering the stuff. Don't fight with what you have. Okay? First, be aware of it. First, know it really nicely that, I know how I live really nicely. I don't need to ask Freud, Jung, or some expert about my own mind. I have seen it really nicely because I'm passionate about how my mind works, and because I don't want to live in a messy way, because I don't want to live in a way where there is a lot of pain and sadness and this and this. And you are sure of it by your own observation. Then the step forward comes much easier. It's much easier. It's only a fight to clean your mind for those people who have not observed themselves first. They come straight when they feel the pain, they say, help me to change myself because I have pain. I want to get rid of the pain. That is not really the right way to get rid of the pain. You can get rid of the pain momentarily for a time, but the seed of the pain, the cause of the pain is still inside of you. And until you find that out, which is a part of the way you live, it's not really easy to fix it. So, see how your mind is messy. Be aware of it. Then ask yourself, are you okay to live like this? If you're okay to live like this, then live like that. It's your choice. If you're not okay to live like that, then be totally or extremely aware of that mess. Because then that mess is danger for you. Just like a wild animal is danger to you. Just like a moving bus is a danger to you. You are very aware of a moving bus towards you. You protect yourself 10 seconds in advance or even more. So in the same way, be aware of living in a messy way. And then the way you protect yourself from a bus is the same way. The conflict, the confusion and everything, you will see it coming and you will protect yourself from it, just like you protect yourself from a bus. But it will only come after the awareness of the process, the awareness of living. If you're not aware of how you live, then you will just memorize some solutions which are offered by someone, which may or may not momentarily work. Maybe, I don't know how to, and because the seed still remains in you of this messiness. So try to clean it nicely. If you're cleaning your room, clean it nicely. If you're cleaning your mind, clean it nicely. Little bit cleaning is, I don't know, it's still mess at one place, clean at one place. I don't know how to still create conflict and duality, or okay, duality maybe is a heavy word here. So just try it. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you can give. If you are really asking that question passionately, then see completely how you live, not just 10, 15 minutes, but try to be aware the whole day that, this is how I'm living. This is what I do. This is how I make my decisions. This is how I decide what's right, what's not right. This is how I decide who is a right person, who is a good person, who is not a good person. All of that, you see it, you observe it. And then you see how you live. And you also see the consequence of living like that. And slowly, that very awareness will show you the magic, So, there's a very famous statement that everything burns in the flame of attention. And this is what the whole point is, that from awareness, from daily awareness, you will slowly start moving towards attention. You will start by being aware of your mess, but slowly, as your awareness becomes stronger and stronger, you go towards the point of when you're attentive about your mess. You are sensitive about your mess really nicely. And then that attention burns all the mess. It's a poetic way of expressing it. I'm sorry, it might be a little unclear, but that very attention keeps the mind clean. That very attention is the cleaning agent. That very attention is the soap. That very attention is the defense system that your mind has then to protect itself from all the kind of mess that it usually gets into. So please try it and give yourself some importance, some seriousness, and not just to your name, to your status in society, not to just your respect, not just to a specific part of you, but the whole of you. Just be aware of the whole of you, and then you will see how it works. If you try it and there are some questions that you feel, or there is something, then please write to me in the comments, and I would be happily like to reply to you, or we can have a conversation, or even maybe a video call or something if you would like to have. We can even arrange that. So, but the most important thing is that you try it. That's very important. So that would be for today, and next time, maybe next week, I will come with something. I have many topics in my mind that I would like to clear, because every day you observe people and you see how they are living, and you see how you yourself are living, and then you see where you are kind of making these thin lines between illusion, reality, confusion, fact, illusion. So, and then you want to clarify those things to yourself first of all, that you discover in the state of your awareness or your attention, and then you also want to maybe help others with those same confusion, because it's the common lot of humanity. The sadness, the depression, doesn't matter where you are on the planet, we all have to face it. So it's nice to help each other in that sense as well. Again, I request you, please try it first, and once you will try it, you will see the magic of it. You will see how not doing anything can do a lot of things. I know, again, I'm using a poetic statement and I apologize for that, but it's just how it feels like. Okay, thank you very much for today. Let's see next time.